Welcome to Black Joy Interrupted Quick News, where we share the stories that shape our community, whether it's joy celebrated or joy interrupted. If you haven't done so already, please like this video and let us know in the comments where you're joining us from. Now let's get into this story. At Hampton University's homecoming this year, the celebration was about pride, legacy, and community, until an uninvited guest showed up. Members of Blexit, the far-right political group founded by Candace Owens and affiliated with Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA, were escorted off campus after attempting to host an unauthorized event. According to Hampton, the group hadn't followed the proper vendor application process, didn't pay the required fees, and wasn't cleared for filming on campus. Blexit claimed otherwise, saying the university silenced them for political reasons, but Hampton made it clear this wasn't about politics. It was about safety, procedure, and respect for the community. In a statement, the university reminded the public that homecoming draws nearly 15,000 people, and vendor rules exist to keep the event safe and organized. Out of 36 vendor applications, 18 were approved. Blexit was not one of them. Hampton said plainly, "We welcome a variety of perspectives, provided they follow established protocols." Blexit failed to meet those standards. So let's be clear about what really happened here. This wasn't censorship. This was boundaries. And when people like Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk, both known for their inflammatory anti-Black rhetoric, try to rebrand themselves as victims on Black campuses, it's not dialogue, it's disruption. In a moment, we'll break down what Blexit really represents, why Hampton's response matters, and how protecting Black space is part of protecting Black joy. Let's be clear, this was never about free speech. It was about boundaries. Blexit calls itself a movement to liberate Black Americans from so-called democratic control. But what it really does is repackage white conservative talking points in Black skin and sells them back to white audiences as proof that racism isn't real. It's not about empowerment, it's about endorsement. Endorsing the idea that police brutality is exaggerated, endorsing the lie that systemic racism ended in the 60s, and endorsing the comfort of white America by saying, "See, there are Black conservatives who agree with us." That's not liberation, that's performance. Because when you break things down, the Blexit brand survives off proximity to white power. And what better way to get attention than to show up uninvited at a Black university, cameras ready and waiting for a reaction? But Hampton University didn't give them the clip they came for. They gave them the gate. And of course, that performance isn't random, it's patterned. It starts with Blexit, but it's fueled by the same voices who've built entire brands off disrespecting Black people for white applause. Candace Owens and the late Charlie Kirk built their brands on mocking Black struggle, dismissing racism, and insulting Black women, then had the audacity to bring that same energy to HBCU campuses and call it a conversation. But when you've called Black men lazy and Black women angry, when you've said DEI and affirmative action are reverse racism, when your whole platform is to undermine Black progress, you don't get to step foot on a Black campus and pretend it's about empowerment. Candace Owens once said the Democratic Party runs a plantation and that police shootings are about bad choices by Black men. Charlie Kirk, in his own words, "If I see a Black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified." If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic Black woman, I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? If we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called racists. Now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. These are not people interested in critical thought. These are opportunists interested in attention. And quietly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was exactly why Hampton University refused them. They don't deserve the time or attention they're seeking. Homecoming is sacred. It's Black legacy, Black laughter, and Black unity in motion. It's where students come home to themselves. What Hampton did wasn't censorship, it was protection. They protected students from being filmed, baited, and harassed for viral content. They protected joy from being interrupted by people who have never defended Black safety, but are quick to exploit Black faces for headlines. Because let's not forget, after Charlie Kirk's death, his followers spread conspiracy theories blaming Black people and launched harassment campaigns at Black campuses. There were threats, there were physical altercations. So no, It wouldn't just be irresponsible for Hampton to let Blexit or TPUSA waltz onto their campus. It would be dangerous. These groups don't come to liberate. They come to antagonize, record, and to monetize outrage. Even bad attention is good attention to them. And let's talk about that Christian values claim for a second. Because Black people don't need a lesson in Christianity. We built the choirs, we built the pews, and we built the faith. What we don't believe in is the right-wing version of Christianity that centers white nationalism and fear. If you can call yourself a Christian while demeaning Black women, mocking Black freedom movements, and defending racism as free speech, you're not spreading the gospel. You're selling propaganda. The truth is, this was never about ideas. It was about cameras, clicks, and control. They needed that HBCU backdrop, not for dialogue, but for optics. And Hampton said, no. Not here, not this weekend, not ever again. Because Black institutions are not obligated to host people who have made careers out of disrespecting us. HBCUs don't owe access to agitators. They owe protection to their students. They didn't stop at Hampton. Students at Fort Lewis College in Colorado, a minority-serving institution, just voted to reject a Turning Point USA chapter altogether. When young people, Black and non-Black, are saying we don't want hate on our campuses, that's not censorship. That's discernment. That's a generation refusing to be gaslit into hosting their own disrespect. So to Candace Owens, to Charlie Kirk's followers, Officer Tatum, to every other grifter who profits off attacking the people they claim to free, we see you. We see the play. We see the performance. What you're not going to do is show up in our spaces, pretend you're liberating us, and then cry victim when we say no. That's not free thought. That's emotional trespassing. And Black joy will always have security at the door. So here's the bottom line. You can't preach freedom while defending oppression. You can't call it faith while spreading hate. And you don't get to weaponize open dialogue to invade spaces that were never yours to begin with. Hampton University didn't silence anyone. They protected peace. And that's what real leadership looks like. Boundaries, standards, discernment, because Black spaces are not your playground. Black campuses are not your stage, and Black students are not your political props. So the next time somebody tells you this was about diversity of thought, remind them diversity doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. This is Black Joy Interrupted, where we don't just report the story, we protect the culture that built it. So we've come to the end of this story. Please like this video, share it with your circle of family and friends, and please let us know what you think about this story in the comment section below. Also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss out on future stories and commentary, because silence is how they win. But the truth, that's how we keep our joy intact.